Prominent members of America's Jewish community have raised increasing alarm over the rising levels of anti-Semitic incidents in the United States. Israeli-American actress Natalie Portman issued a statement on her social media accounts on Sunday echoing these recent statements, right? Seeing the emergence of anti-Semitism makes my heart drop, she said. Today I send extra love to my fellow Jews, and I send love to those standing with us against these violent actions. It's been very painful and frightening to listen to, and I'm extremely grateful for those who continue to speak up against anti-Semitism, against hate, stand with us, the Jewish people, against all forms of racism. The level of concern that Natalie Portman and others have given expression to is prompted by the popularity of rapper Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, who made a bunch of bizarre statements and really highly alarming public statements in recent days, like praising Adolf Hitler, praising the Nazis, disparaging Jewish people. His comments and actions have also been defended by some other African-American celebrities like Kyrie Irving, NBA player for the Brooklyn Nets. And some bizarre attention in recent weeks has happened promoting the idea that dark-skinned West African people are the true descendants of the biblical tribes of Israel, and light-skinned European Jews are imposters. The statements by Ye, or Kanye West, and Kyrie Irving have drawn support from many other African-American celebrities, although most of these statements of support have been tempered with different degrees of disapproval for the general idea of anti-Semitism.
Anti-Semitism here and everywhere. And the president was crystal clear, was on target in fighting anti-Semitism with all tools possible. It's anti-Semitism, it's racism, xenophobia. These are the challenges of the era, but unfortunately history teaches us that usually it starts with hating Jews, with blaming Jews, with terrible rhetoric that people say.
Have former United States President Donald Trump, a great friend of Israel, hosting Ye, as well as white nationalist Nick Fuentes, at his home in Mar-a-Lago, Florida last week, prompting a torrent of statements by Jewish Republicans saying they were going to drop their support for Trump. However, Trump remains highly popular with many Republican voters, according to polls, and most of the party's national leadership has refrained from commenting on his relationship with Ye and Nick Fuentes. So there's an increase, there's a spike. Another report was published on Monday of this week by the New York Police Department showing reports of anti-Semitic hate crimes in the city increasing 125% in November of 2022 over the same month, November, in 2021. Reports of an anti-Semitic speech, and attacks on U.S. college campuses also spiking in the last year, like Harvard University, Cambridge, Massachusetts, heading the way, according to a report this week by the Amcha Jewish Advocacy Organization. No other student identity group has been subject to anywhere near the kinds of attacks sustained, coordinated attacks on their identity, and trying to expunge these Jewish students from the campuses. This is wrong. National and international groups don't experience what these Jewish students feel who have a connection with Israel, a connection with a Jewish state, a report says. Meanwhile, in Israel, the headlines this week were dominated by President Isaac Herzog, Bougie Herzog, visiting Bahrain, the first such state visit by an Israeli leader, governmental leader, to a small but strategically important Arab country. From Bahrain, he continued to the United Arab Emirates for a conference on the exploration of outer space. This is another historic step in the relationship between Israel and Arabic neighbor states that signed the Abraham Accords, another huge step towards more and more nations joining the circle of peace with the state of Israel. Herzog says as he boards the flight at Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion Airport, "I will be the guest of King of Bahrain and his government, and I hope to discuss issues of mutual interest." Israel and the United Arab Emirates are both regional powers in this field, and if one looks ahead, one sees an incredible vista of cooperation between so many industries that Israel, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and other nations who have signed the Abraham Accords will be able to enjoy as more nations join in the future. Trade and mutual investment between Israel and the Abraham Accord nations has already created thousands of jobs in both nations. Also, making news in Israel this week is the increasing likelihood of Germany purchasing our Arrow 3 missile defense system, which Israel developed jointly with the United States. Summary. largest Jewish community in the world outside Israel is in the United States, with much of the rest of the world's Jews, both in Russia, Ukraine, France, United Kingdom, and Canada. But all these Jewish communities are experiencing increased levels of discomfort and anxiety due to physical dangers of war and economic downturns and increased normalization and mainstreaming of anti-Semitic tropes, attitudes, and other tensions with social, ethnic, religious groups. All of this are problems that the Jewish community is facing, and they feed off each other. In Israel, there are challenges, but there are also many opportunities for most Israeli citizens, whether they're Jewish, Arab, or members of other communities, to find a high quality of life, and they often express their satisfaction with life here in the Promised Land. These trends show signs of an increasing Aliyah. Many are seriously considering Aliyah. They're going to need help in fulfilling their dreams. Groups like the Jewish Agency, like the Ministry of Absorption, the Ministry of Aliyah, of the government, are rendered with this daunting task, and they're trying to gear up for the large numbers of new immigrants that are expected to begin moving to the Jewish state in the coming months and years, but they can't do it alone. That is where private initiatives like the Aliyah Return Center come in. We were founded to assist the government of Israel and other organizations in the vitally important and holy task of welcoming these new immigrants to Israel, assisting them as they make their first steps, food, clothing, shelter, job training, Hebrew, giving them everything they need for their new life in the ancient homeland Israel. We provide all kinds of services to get them acclimated, absorbed, attached, integrated to this acculturized to Israeli society. And we thank you as the year wraps up, Gregorian year, for sowing into this work. We have a 501c3 in the United States. Go to our website, click on the USA, and you're going to see a link to donate and get your tax exemption charitable receipt. God bless you from the Galilee.
Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to keeping you posted as to the latest developments that relate to Aliyah and return and restoration. God bless you from the land of Israel.